welcome to The Explainer. We're always trying to figure people out. So today, let's dive into the mind of Friedrich Nietzsche to see how people reveal the truth about themselves, even when they're desperately trying to hide it. Alright, let's jump right in with an idea from Nietzsche that's, it's pretty startling. It might just change how you see yourself, and honestly, everyone around you. So here's the thing. Nietzsche says that to the people who were actually paying attention, you were never some big mystery. They saw all those subtle shifts you thought you were hiding so well. The laugh that's just a little too loud when you feel ignored, or the way your voice cracks ever so slightly when you're telling a lie. So what did they see? Were they psychic? Do they have some kind of mind-reading trick? Nope, nothing like that. They were just observing. They saw the gap, that little space between the performance you were putting on and the real person underneath. And that right there brings us to a really core concept from Nietzsche. He believed that what we all call our personality, it's often something else entirely. Just think about it for a second. From the time we're kids, we learn to adjust who we really are. We learn pretty quickly to cry a little less, to ask fewer questions, to kind of sand down our rough edges so we're more palatable to the world. So the crucial point here, the big takeaway, is this. When you're talking to someone, you're often not seeing the real them. Nope. What you're seeing is the mask they've carefully built to protect themselves and just fit in. But here's the catch, right? No matter how well made that mask is, it always leaks. The truth about a person isn't in the grand speeches they make. It's in those tiny accidental moments where the performance starts to crack. Okay, so how do we actually learn to spot these leaks? Is this some kind of magic trick? Not at all. It's really just about recognizing patterns. Let's break down exactly what you should be looking for. Really, what you're doing is collecting data points. You're looking for things like a sudden shift in their tone of voice, or a contradiction between what they say and what they do. Or maybe it's a topic they always avoid. These are the little emotional fingerprints they leave behind, the signals that tell the real story. Now, contradictions. These are probably the absolute clearest signs you can find. It's when that mask is really cracking under the pressure. The words say one thing, but the body is telling a completely different story. Yeah, the words they speak, that's the performance. But that clenched jaw, that is the truth. That's the real feeling leaking out from behind the mask. Okay, here's another classic pattern to look for. You know the type. Someone whose whole philosophy doesn't quite line up with how they actually behave. Their need for constant noise, for distraction, it reveals something much deeper. That restlessness, that inability to just be in silence. It's a huge tell. It points to an inner chaos they might even be hiding from themselves. Alright, so now that we have that foundation, let's build on it. Let's dive into some of Nietzsche's most powerful and, sometimes pretty dark insights into why we do the things we do. So these next few insights are really specific, and we're going to start with a big one. It's the idea that criticism is very often a confession. Think about it. When someone is just so loud and so consistent in judging another person for a specific flaw, what they're often doing is pointing to something they absolutely cannot stand in their own reflection. It's like they're holding up a mirror, but tilting it away from themselves. Next up, let's talk about what happens when nothing is said at all, because sometimes that's where the most truth is revealed. You have to pay attention to what isn't being said. That sudden change of topic when things get uncomfortable, that tiny little hesitation before they answer a simple question, that avoidance, that's a confession all by itself. Okay, let's shift gears a little and talk about the illusion of control, and more importantly, what it really means when you see it in someone. People who have this insatiable hunger to micromanage everything and everyone around them, they're not strong, they're actually terrified. See, controlling their outer world is just so much easier than facing the absolute chaos they feel on the inside. And finally, this is a really profound one. It's the understanding that our past, well, it's never really in the past, is it? It's always, always active right here in the present. Our behavioral patterns are basically confessions. That adult who has to dominate every single conversation, they might have been the child who was completely ignored. And the person who hides every emotion, they were probably punished for showing them a long time ago. The biography is right there in the behavior. So, after all that, what's the point? Why learn to see all this stuff? The goal isn't to get one up on people or to judge them, not at all. The real goal here is to free yourself. Because when you can finally see the wound behind the armor, you stop taking their behavior so personally. You realize that their anger, their arrogance, their coldness, it was never really about you. It's just a survival strategy, a shield they built a long, long time ago to protect their own pain. And in that moment of clarity, you stop asking, why are they doing this to me? And you start wondering, wow, what part of them is hurting so much that they have to act this way? And when that happens, your own anger just melts away. Empathy becomes almost inevitable. You don't become colder or more cynical. You become unshakable because you finally see what's really going on.